The photograph here graphically illustrates just how swift the gun versus armor race was during World War II. As the armor thickness of tanks increased, it became necessary to increase the size of the gun in order to launch a shell that could effectively defeat the tank's protection. The result of this is vividly presented here. The smaller gun is the 3.7 cm Panzerabwehrkanone 36, 3.7 cm Pak 36. This was the primary anti-tank gun of the German Wehrmacht at the outbreak of war in 1939. Developed in 1933 and entering service in 1936, the Pak 36 was first blooded in battle during the Spanish Civil War, which ran from 1936 to 1939. It was effective against the armor used by Republican forces, namely Soviet BT-5 and T-26 light tanks. In 1940, during the Battle of France, the Pak 36 went up against the French Char B1 heavy tank and the British Matilda II infantry tank and was found wanting. By 1941, some 20,000 Pak 36 guns were in service, but the arrival of the Soviet T-34 medium tank and KV-1 heavy tank saw the usefulness of the Pak 36 diminish even more once these tanks were encountered in more and more numbers. It soon earned the Pak 36 such derogatory names as the Heeresanklopfgerät, Army's door-knocking device, or Panzeranklopfkanone, tank door-knocking cannon, when its rounds simply bounced off the Soviet tanks without effect. The Pak 36 had a 65.5-inch barrel that had a 16-groove, right-hand twist rifling. It used a horizontal sliding block breech and was percussion-fired. The two-wheeled, split-trail carriage permitted a 60-degree gun traverse with a 25-degree gun elevation and a 5-degree gun depression. Recoil was of the Hydra spring type and the crew was provided with a sloped gun shield. The total weight in action was 953 pounds. When firing the standard 3.7 cm Pak Panzergrenade, PZGR, armor-piercing round, the gun could penetrate 65 mm of armor at a slope of 0 degrees at 100 m and 50 mm of armor at a 30-degree slope at 500 m. The penetration was 48 mm and 36 mm respectively. When firing the 3.7 cm PZGR-40 tungsten cord composite rigid round, penetration was 79 mm at a 0-degree slope and 68 mm at a 30-degree slope at 100 m, while at 500 m, the penetration was 50 mm and 40 mm respectively. To attempt to make the Pak 36 useful towards the middle and latter part of the war, the 3.7 cm steel grenade 41 was developed in 1943. This was a hollow charge, thin stick bomb with an oversized warhead that contained 5 pounds and 34 pennies of cyclonite TNT that could be put down the barrel of the Pak 36. It could punch through 180 mm of armor, but in order to be effective, the gun had to engage targets at no more than 300 meters, which was extremely close to the enemy by middle to late war standards. The larger gun was the 8.8 cm Panzerabwehrkanone 43/41. The Pak 43/41 was an expedient design which utilized the Pak 41 gun barrel, a breech mechanism derived from the Pak 43, and used a gun carriage that utilized the trail legs from the 10.5 cm La FH-18 howitzer and the wheels from the 15 cm SFH field gun. By using components already in production, the new anti-tank gun was able to be more quickly assembled and put into production, with the first deliveries to Wehrmacht anti-tank gun units commencing sometime in 1943. As one can see, the Pak 43/41 was a large gun that made moving it in adverse conditions such as mud and snow difficult, and crews of the Pak 43/41 nicknamed it the Scheunenter, which meant barn door due to its size and weight. In all, approximately 2,100 Pak 43/41 guns were built. The Pak 43/41 had a 260.2-inch barrel that had a 32-groove, right-hand uniform twist rifling. It used a horizontal semi-automatic sliding block breech and was electrically fired. The two-wheeled, split-trail carriage permitted a 56-degree gun traverse with a 38-degree gun elevation and a 5-degree gun depression. Recoil was of the hydropneumatic type and the crew was provided with a gun shield. The total weight in action was 9,658 pounds. When firing the standard 8.8 cm PZGR Patra, Patron 39-1 armor-piercing round. The gun could penetrate 207 mm of armor at a slope of 0 degrees at 500 m and 182 mm of armor at a 30-degree slope at 1000 m. The penetration was 190 mm and 167 mm respectively at 2000 m. He penetration was 159 mm and 139 mm respectively when firing the standard 8.8 cm PZGR Patra 40 tungsten cord armor-piercing round. The gun could penetrate 274 mm of armor at a slope of 0 degrees at 500 m and 226 mm of armor at a 30-degree slope at 1000 m. The penetration was 241 mm and 192 mm respectively at 2000 m. He penetration was 184 mm and 136 mm respectively. The power of the Pak 43/41 was such that at 600 m, a shot into the rear of a Soviet T-34 medium tank knocked the engine block some 16 feet away from the tank and blew the commander's cupola hatch some 49 feet from the wrecked tank. The Pak 43/41 was also able to engage targets beyond 2,000 meters, with one report citing a gun crew knocking out 6 T-34 tanks from a range of 3,500 meters.